All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Green White Checker TV. Tonight we have the Area 51 Racing League Cup Series here at Michigan. Scheduled 100 laps tonight for the race. So you see the point standings going into the race right now. Our top three right now: Maxwell Caldwell with a 15 or 14 point lead, I should say, lead over Ryan Kelly, tied with Ryan Kelly and Jack Walls there for that second spot. And then in third, a little further back, is James Ledford. In fifth is Corey Cook. And the remainder of the top 10 you see is Dalton Hayes, Chad Wilkes, Dwight Plush, Corey Lane, and Jim Brooks will round out our top 10 in the points this evening. This is going to be race number 9 of 12, so after tonight we will have 3 more to go. And saying those remaining races are going to be, let me pull up our schedule here, Dover, Phoenix, and Las Vegas. So I'll say it's one of the last big tracks that they're going to have before they get to Vegas. I'll say they're going to have a couple quick tracks with Dover and Phoenix. But first they're going to have to get around this 2-mile track here, and so we're going to let them finish up their qualifying times, and then we'll join here in just a moment. Alright, so it looks like qualifying is completed, so we're going to pull up our starting grid for tonight's race. So on pole position is going to be that number 94 of Maxwell Caldwell. In second we have the 23 of Brandon Pasalacqua. Third is Ryan Kelly. Fourth, James Ledford. Fifth is Doug Johnson. Sixth, Todd Merkel. Seventh, Jack Walls. And then eighth is Mark Brown. And 9th through 16th there you've got Corey Cook, Michael Spell, Corey Lane, Quabby Brooks, Charles Johnson, Nicholas Snook, David Patton, Art Peck. And then the remainder of the field here you've got Dalton Hayes, Dwight Plush, Jim Brooks, and Mike Morrison. Alright, so joining me this evening in the booth is my esteemed colleague Don Runkle Jr. So he's going to be giving us part of the show as well. Looking forward to being here with you as well, Don. I think it's going to be a tale of two races on my side of things. Obviously with the fresh tires, these guys are going to be able to go full tilt, balls to the wall if you will. But then as those tires start wearing out, though, that right front's going to get hot, and I think you're going to see some comers and goers with those that are able to kind of take advantage or take it easy on their tires as the run progresses.
Oh, most definitely. It's going to be, that's the thing about this track, man. The tires are just are so important as far as, like you said, that right front, and with the field being, we got 20 cars. I think we were talking pre-race The last race they had here, they had a full field of 43 cars, so that's going to be a factor too, because these guys literally have 20 less cars to have to fight and battle with to wear those tires out. So that, we got to take into account that too. So I think it's going to be a great race tonight. Can't wait to watch.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty exciting, I think, and like you said, with the shorter field, I think it's gonna help as well. As we were going through the stats, trying to see what we could expect, and so let's say it's definitely not an apples to apples, because that first race there were the 43 cars, and it was also, though, they had it was the first race of the season, so that's definitely gonna change things up too, as well. But no, I'm looking forward to it. This is also a pretty unique track with, you really don't want to run the white line here through the turns. It's got that little bit less banking, and it really makes the car wash up pretty bad. So I think we're going to see these drivers here probably try to aim to stay towards the that first seam as the low line, if you will, here.
Yeah, I agree. You don't really want to get that car all the way down to that bottom line there. It almost kind of bounds the car up. It just car does not perform well at all down there, like you were saying. It's lack of grip, lack of banking. You kind of want to get those left side tires right there on that first seam that you'll see that's pretty prominent in the turns there. Drivers use those seams as kind of markers about where they're going to run on the track, and that first seam is usually the place you're going to see these guys aiming for as when this race first starts. But as this race progresses, I think you're going to see that groove move up a little bit. I think it's going to more transition into a middle groove kind of race. But as you said, either way, it's going to be a great race tonight. Pace car is going to be peeling off here in just a minute, and Maxwell is going to lead these drivers off into turn one.
Yeah, Maxwell going to get that bonus point for getting the pole. That's going to help his championship hopes here. So again, he's going to have to hold off a couple of hungry drivers right behind him. So waiting for that green flag to fly, and we are underway again. Scheduled 100 laps here tonight at Michigan.
You see great restart so far. These guys side by side still. They're going to try to take advantage of these fresh tires and try to get as many spots as they possibly can, because as these runs progress, it's going to be really difficult to pass.
Yeah, it's one of those things, you can get underneath the car, but just to be able to complete the pass all the way through, that's where it gets really difficult. And Maxwell's got a big head of steam, get that big push from that 13 of Ryan Kelly, trying to get that inside line to go. Of course, Ryan's in it for himself as well, trying to push himself around that 23 of Brandon Pasalacqua, but not going to clear him. But it is going to let that 94 here clear that the front row, and that's going to get Maxwell Caldwell first lap led in this race.
And you'll see already these guys are kind of spreading out as far as, high line, low line, and everywhere. I mean, right now with these tires and so much grip, you pretty much have a run of wherever you want to put your car on the track. But later on, you're going to see these guys probably choose a specific line to run. And right now, Maxwell's got that 23 all over that rear bumper of his.
Yeah, it's Brandon Pasalacqua. So you see he gets a little high there on the entry. You see James Ledford in the 48. He's going after it right off the bat here. He's going straight to the bottom. He's going to try to grab that second spot. James started in that fourth position. He's now fighting for second. So we also talked about there before we started here, the comers and goers. So we'll see if this aggression from the 48 is this going to hurt him as the run progresses on, because again, this is probably going to be abusing those right fronts a little bit. And of course, that car we're going to definitely keep an eye on if we do get these long runs in is going to be that 13, of course, of Ryan Kelly.
And you'll notice, our leader, Maxwell, he's really arcing that corner down. He's got the advantage of having no one underneath him right now. So he has the chance of he can arc that corner down and, pretty much put his car in whatever line he chooses, as opposed to those guys behind him who are fighting right now for second and third. They got, they're racing side by side. They can't put their car wherever they want. So, but at the same time, you can see these guys right there on him. I mean, this is a great race going on right now. You can see still trying to get underneath him there, James Ledford is, but trying to get underneath Maxwell, but can't quite do it. Oh, no, that's not James. I'm sorry. That's Brandon trying to get underneath him down there, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's James. Yeah, no, it's James and Brandon.
Sorry, they look so much
that's they've got both the black and white paint schemes back. Yeah, now Brandon is looking. He's going to take it all the way to the yellow line. Looks like he's going to clear him.
But I
here
think
comes
he
the over-under.
Too much momentum. Yeah, if you just see Maxwell just kind of held his line, and he kind of let physics take over there for him and get that spot, and he's actually going to lead that lap. So, yeah, that was pretty aggressive move there by Brandon early on, but I mean, no harm, no foul. He didn't hit anybody. He was trying to get the lead there, and Maxwell was just able to power back through there and get it. Now we got a new person up here in the top 3 fighting for that top spot there. Todd Merkel, look in that 81 car.
Yeah, Todd started in 6th, up into that 3rd spot. He was in that nice, clean little bit of group as well. He was kind of in between those 2 battles there, so he had some nice clean air where he was able to, like you're saying, kind of get that arc entering and exiting that he wanted to take there. So that's brought him right up into this mix. But yeah, you're right though. I think Brandon kind of sent it in there into turn 3 and 4, but then, like you said, he washed up on the exit. Maxwell just said, "Yeah, go on by, and I'll just cut right back under you." So, really good awareness by both those drivers there to have that battle here.
And right now Maxwell, he's kind of liking this. These guys, if they keep battling back there, they're going to be abusing their tires. I mean, just because they're running side by side, Maxwell can just run whatever line he wants, and not necessarily save his tires, but he can put his car in the preferred line that he wants to be in, so he doesn't have to abuse them so much by fighting with somebody. But as I say that right now, Brandon trying to take another look on the inside, and then you see our leader Maxwell went to the bottom, been usually on the top, but now he's chosen to run that low line, and he's about a half a car length or half a car width, above that bottom seam that we were talking about.
Yeah, I was curious to see if Brandon was going to be able to pinch him there to the inside, but you saw Maxwell was able to get that good arc in there in the turn like we've been seeing so far from him this whole race. So yeah, I say Brandon's definitely going to have his work cut out for him, and you saw James Ledford. He's been able to sneak back around the 81 of Todd Merkel, but we've got a new joiner in the fight here. Is that 68 of Mark Brown and that Gatorade Zero machine. So he's now moved up into that 5th position. So we'll keep an eye on him as well. But right now, I think we're definitely seeing some different strategies on how much aggression to use early. And again, I mentioned that I'm going to keep an eye on that 13 car, because I think about maybe 5-10 more laps, I think we'll start seeing him make that move.
Yeah, that's when we see Ryan. Usually those tires get worn in just enough for him to start making moves. So I think you're right. I think it's only a matter of time before we see him making his run for the front. But another question for you: what is do you know what the fuel run is going to be like tonight?
If I talked to some of the drivers, it sounds like it's going to be in the low 30 number. So I'm curious to see also if we do get to that green flag pit stop window, that's going to be critical. If these drivers can make it to, let's say, lap 33, 34, that'll give them a 2-stop race. However, if they have to pit one more time, that's going to be a 3-stopper. So I'm curious to see if we're going to see any fuel savings from some of these drivers. Maybe you won't see it. It's not going to be blatant. It'll be just, instead of rolling on the brakes and then turns, they'll just lift, let the car slow itself down. And then roll back into the throttle as gently as possible. So I think that's going to be what we'll see for the potential fuel savings in this run. And of course with the draft too, if you're in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th positions, you can just kind of cruise a little bit, as Brandon's going to take a look though.
I was going to say, yeah, Brandon right there, he actually got a little bit of that draft from Maxwell and helped him put him in position right there to look down low. And you can see he actually put his car below that seam a little bit. It seemed like you were talking about before the race. It upset the car. It didn't really seem like he had nearly as much grip down there and couldn't keep his momentum going. Anytime really you go below that seam, and you can see our leader's doing it now too, but yeah, it just seems like that's not really a place you want to be.
Yeah, it's a risk versus reward is really what it is, and there are times where you can get just enough underneath it that it really helps you. You see now Brandon's going to try to get to the top of the 94, so we'll see if he's able to make it work. But you see, I think what he's going to have to do, he's giving that 94 a ton of room right now, which I'm sure is going to change as this race progresses. But when you see that leader, or when you see that car underneath you there, if he's pinched to the bottom, you're going to probably want to run that 2nd seam. Again, so that way you still have a pretty short distance around the track, because if you run that 3rd seam like he was, you can see just the speed just isn't there that high up on the track, especially with these cars the way they're set up with the higher downforce, lower horsepower.
And you can see right now we have about 7 cars that have broken away from the rest of the field there. Our last car will be Michael Spell in the 88, would be the last one in this lead pack here. But look, they've broken away pretty good. They have a good,
like a 5-second gap.
Yeah, straightaway lead, basically, maybe backstretch lead on these guys, maybe a little less.
I'm thinking something happens. I see a handful of cars in the pits as well. I see the 09, 16, 388.
Might have missed something back there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, if you want to take if you want to keep up track with what's going on track here, Don, I'm going to jump back and take a look, see if I can find what happened.
But we still got a great race going on up here up front, man. These guys, I mean, even though they have broken away from the rest of the field, these guys are still putting on one heck of a show up front here. Brandon just trying to do everything he can to get by Maxwell, but at the same time, he has to save his tires. He can't be too aggressive. He's been trying that low line. It makes me wonder if maybe he should try looking on the high side a few times. I don't know if it's Michigan. I haven't ran here quite enough to know, if Michigan is a track you can really pass on the high side too much, but you can actually see right there that Maxwell is staying above that lower seam, and it seems like Brandon keeps kind of going below it a little bit. That might be holding him up a little bit, but he's able to get that draft on Maxwell in these straightaways. So he's able to keep his car right there, able to keep himself right there in position. But as I say that, Todd Merkel seems to be closing in on Brandon there.
All right, so I'm pulling up the replay here. I finally found it. So yeah, you see the 388, the 09, and the 83 just kind of all squeezed together here coming off a turn forward in the tri-oval. So you see all three of them make contact. You see the 16. He tries to avoid it. He goes low, but he's going to catch that 388. So that's where all these drivers had to make their pit stops here under green. So that was what caused the gap between all these drivers, unfortunately. So, so that's just to give an update on that one. You see Jack Walls in that 83 has ate a lot of damage to his machine.
Hey, great job. Thanks for going back and checking that out, guys. Late keeps you guys informed. That's what broke our pack up. But, great job going back and checking that out, guys. As you see, our leader's got his hands full right now.
Oh, Brandon, I think just got to the outside. He got enough there, and he's going to hold looks like the momentum there on the top. So this is, I think, where he's looking.
Too, though.
Yeah, so it almost was 3-wide battle there. So we'll see now if Brandon's going to give as much room. No, you see he's running that second seam like we were talking about there. So he's definitely giving a little less room than we had mentioned before.
Do you think maybe if he was on the high side and he had somebody behind him, a little help, is there enough of a draft here to be able to maybe make that high side work a little bit? Because you can see right now he's able to close right in on his bumper, but he just can't make the pass. There's not enough momentum for him to be able to make the pass. It's like he hits a wall of air. So
yeah, I think if he did have some help, that would definitely go a long ways. And I'm also noticing Ryan Kelly now moved up into that 5th position. So I think now we talked about that's going to be his green light to make things happen. So I'm going to watch his lap times compared to leader. But yeah, I think if Brandon can get a little bit of a draft help from, at this point right now, Todd, I think he could definitely make something happen. But I think it's just one of those things where it's just kind of a mixed bag where obviously Maxwell's not slow by any means, but again, with this package, just it breaks so much air if you're that lead car. It just really keeps these guys behind you right on your tail.
Yeah, I'm looking at this second pack here right now, just looking some great racing going on with these guys back here. Basically the same story. Really hard to pass for these guys back here. They're basically fighting from 13th on back. And right now we got like a 3-wide battle actually going on.
Yeah, as I jump back to you're right. It looks like the 47 of Dalton Hayes is in there. I think I saw the 10 of Corey Lane. But yeah, even though they're a ways off the leaders, they're not giving close between Corey
Cook, yeah, and the 47.
And actually, Corey's got fresh tires. Corey's one of those drivers that had to pit there due to the damage under yellow, so that's what he's working on here. He wants to try to be that first car a lap down.
They're 3 wide right now. They're not playing around, and he's definitely not playing around with those fresh tires. He's taking advantage of them and wants to try to get up front, maybe try to separate himself from this pack and be able to start running down those cars in front of him. But I don't know if he's going to be able to do that by himself at a draft.
Yeah, it's going to be. I'll keep an eye on the lap times. I'll say things have kind of settled out towards the front. I'm watching Ryan Kelly
file right now up front.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised Ryan Kelly hasn't closed the gap more, but the lap times have actually really kind of evened out. Everybody's really running right around the same times. 39.4s, 39. There's a couple in 39.3s. Ryan looks like he was actually the fastest car that last time by. Corey Cook, though, with those fresh tires, we'd mentioned him. He ran a 39.2 even while battling. But however, the fastest car on track was Doug Johnson, who also had to make that pit stop. He ran a 37.9. So it just shows you the pace that these newer tires have, even after, we're not even through a full fuel run yet. So
Corey Cook's almost a lap down. I didn't even realize that.
Corey Quabi and Doug Johnson, they all had to pit there under green, unfortunately.
That's right.
But yeah, you're right, though. Maxwell's I think he's been able to fend off the charge slightly. Yes, I'm not going to say completely because, again, you see Brennan still right there. And see also Todd Merkel, Mark Brown, they're all still right in this mix as well. So really solid runs for all these drivers here up front at the moment. I think I wondered if with them having the separating from that pack here, if they're like, hey, if we kind of don't fight too hard here, if they can stay green, I mean, we've got a 7-8 second gap over that group behind us. So we're in a pretty good spot here.
I mean, they are definitely thinking that. I don't think that second gap's thinking that. I keep watching these guys, and these guys are really slicing and dicing, and 2 wide, 3 wide sometimes. So, you know, I'm not really sure. I haven't ran with this package too much here in Michigan, so I'm not really sure just how much the draft comes into effect as far as like a long-term goes. You know what I mean? It's like you could have 2 cars run a draft, and they can actually make some, you know, ground at a restrictor plate race on people in front of them. Here, I'm not sure if that's the same case. So I'm curious to see, you know, in a long run, if we're going to have that happen in this group here, if you're going to maybe after pit stops, if we're going to get them separated enough to where you're going to see 2-3 car groups be able to break away.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see it. And like you said, the pit stops are going to be critical here. I'm watching that second group as well. You can see that
This
47.
lead is getting a little interesting though.
Let's jump back up front here. Let's watch. Oh yeah, you're right. Here comes Todd Merkel, going to try to get underneath the 23. Brendan Pesalacqua can't quite do it there off of the turn. Saying here's going to be that momentum up top. That's the risk of trying to go to the inside. If you can't complete the pass, you can see he's got no help on that inside line.
None whatsoever. Yeah.
However, he was
if they had help, would they be able to complete these passes either on the high side or low side?
I think so. I mean, I think the help would definitely. I think right now the top line is going to be where you need to make the pass. If you can get to that right rear quarter panel and get that spotter to say car high, I think that's going to be the way to make these passes happen. I think down low, you're just like you talked about. We're running the low line, how you just kind of bindens the car up a little bit. That's what we're seeing as well when you run that bottom. As you can see, that 81 still actually going below the first seam. Really trying to get everything he can out of that car right now.
Yeah, you can see Brandon in the 23. You know, he's able to get right on the bumper of Maxwell with that draft on the back stretch and front stretch, but just you can't. You know, you can see them both of them go below the seam right there, kind of split that seam. But like he's right there, he is right there to make a move. But it's like it's one of those things where if he makes the move, he knows he's not going to be able to hold it.
Yeah, and
maybe
I think
these two. Maybe if he just tucks behind Maxwell, maybe these two can break away from these guys here. You know, who knows?
And it's actually not a bad idea if they can lock up here and kind of almost run it like a plate race where you kind of tandem down the straightaways.
Yeah.
If Brandon can get to him and start pushing him slowly but surely away from Todd Merkel, from Mark Brown, Ryan Kelly, I mean, you could definitely there is a case to say about try to make it kind of a 2-car race here, at least, of course, before pit stops happen where everything's going to change, which right now we're on lap 24, coming around to start lap 25, so almost at a quarter distance. Yeah, so I think about 10 more laps or so, if that number was right here, where that pit window is going to start opening up, so it won't be too far away here. Or if there's drivers who don't think they can make it, do they pit at lap 25 or so and
exactly,
split it in quarters?
Kind of have to short pit a little bit. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, hey, that's all up to the hands of these drivers. You know, they're the only ones that know if they've been saving enough fuel, if they've been saving those tires, if they need to try to go that extra distance to try to cut this race into thirds and not have to make an extra pit stop, because, you know, even if there is tire fall off going down pit road under green, that's the worst. That's where you're going to lose the most time. So the least amount of times you can do that, the better. And actually in the back, I see 2 cars going down pit road right now.
Yeah, it looks like Jim Brooks, Dwight Plush. I don't think they must not think they can make it, so they're going to go for the splitting up in quarters. So they are in. That's the 76 and the 44. So now we'll keep an eye on our leaders and see if they're going to have to do something similar. But I have a feeling with the gap that they've got right now, they're going to probably try to play it safe. Especially, let's say the only one that might be in a bit of a difficult spot is going to be Maxwell. Again, because of the fact that he's been leading this whole time. Yeah, he hasn't been saving any fuel.
That's another thing I'm wondering. Are these guys playing that game? Is Brandon, because Brandon's been right on his bumper almost this whole race or close to it. If it's not Brandon, then it's been Todd. But and these guys should be able to save some fuel. I mean, when he's catching up to him like that on that back stretch and the front stretch, he should be able to be not be on the throttle all the way to be able to save some fuel. So I would think he'd have a little bit extra in that tank.
Yeah, I'm thinking that 23 is. Brandon. Yeah, no, I'm thinking Brandon. Actually, pretty much, yeah. Second on back, Brandon, Todd, Mark, Ryan, Michael, and James here. They can probably all go further than that than the 94 Maxwell Caldwell. The question, of course, is what's Maxwell doing in his car? Maybe he's not sending it into the turns on the brakes. Maybe he's just lifting on entry. and just being really, really careful with the throttle. So I mean, maybe he's had to fight a little bit, but maybe they've settled in a little bit.
Coming down pit road. We got
Oh, yep, Charles
Mike
Johnson.
Morrison, Charles Johnson, David Patton's down pit road. Nicholas is down pit road in the 78 car. So we got a whole bunch of drivers from that second pack that just went down pit road on lap 28. So yeah, there's drivers that have committed now. They're going to have to make those extra stops. That extra stop.
Yeah, I'll say right now, if it stays green, you're right. I mean, that's going to be pretty much committed to say one of those things you made your bed, now you got to lie in it. So
yeah, definitely.
Let's see, we mentioned Corey Cook. He's kind of cut that gap in half to that lead pack. He's still about 4 or 5 tenths quicker than the leaders, even while running by himself. So he is closing that gap. Of course, he's losing the advantage.
His times, I don't think they're trying to see what his lap times
he
are.
He ran a 39.1 last time. The leaders were 39.4, 39.5.
That's not too bad.
So yeah, it's a couple tenths. I mean, a lap. Yeah. So, I mean, he's starting to bridge that gap, and once he gets their draft, he'll be right in there. Again, right now he is the first car 1 lap down. Once all the pit stops cycle, and actually Maxwell's in.
Down pit road. Brandon's coming down pit road. Locks him up coming down pit road. Hopefully he didn't speed coming before that yellow cone there, but he definitely locked him up.
Yeah,
that's going to make Todd Merkel in that number 81 car your leader, with Mark Brown behind him and Ryan Kelly.
So now
those two guys just made contact.
Yeah, so you can see close racing. I say it looks like Ryan's going to try to take advantage of these pit stops here and try to start making the ground now. He's able to get around Mark Brown, so that's going to move Ryan up into second spot. We'll see here if anybody's going to duck off out of 4 yet. Michael Spell and James Ledford, they're both in.
Yep. So now you just got you got our top 3 that haven't been in yet, and then our 4th place driver. I'm waiting for him to cross the line.
Corey Lane. Oh no, Dalton Hayes is in as well. He was in that second group, so Corey Lane's still out. Jack Walls is still. He's got a lot of damage, but I think he might be in the pits now. I'm double checking. Yep, Jack Walls is in the pits as well. So right now we've just got now 4 cars that are still staying out here. I wonder, again, maybe Ryan was going full save. I think you're going to see Todd Merkel. It looks like he's getting set to pit because you see a 13 just blow on by him. Yeah, here comes Todd Merkel. Here comes the 68 of Mark Brown as well. And he's watched them. Looks like they get down to speed pretty well there. All right, so was Ryan Kelly, maybe he wasn't making that big charge because he was going fuel save mode possibly because, I mean, we're on lap 32 here, Don. I mean, he's a lap away from getting to that third distance mark.
Yeah, and I mean, I would try to chance it. I mean, why not? You're this far. Try to make it, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to lose a lap, of course, when he pits with everything. And say if there's a caution right now, he's going to have pretty much half the field, actually almost the whole field, trapped a lap down right now.
Yeah.
Maxwell right now is the only up. Here he comes.
He's coming down pit road right now. So he did kind of stretch it still because, I mean, he made it to that third mark. Because coming down pit road,
he's coming to 33 right now, so it would be tight, but it's definitely a possibility. And of course you can save that last run.
You can do it, yeah. Plus, I mean, it's kind of a confidence booster. He knows he can make it that far. He's like, this is how far I can make it on this field run.
Oh, we overshot just a bit.
Oh, he went. Yeah,
he was ready though. He was on that quick though. But
you kind of know as a driver, especially if you have sim racing apps or you have one of those apps that counts you down or something like that. You know as a driver if you're like, I'm going to blow this. So you kind of already go into neutral and get ready to pop it in reverse. And sometimes I'm the same way. I'm like, got my foot on the brake, car is sliding, and I have it in reverse, waiting just to kick it back that couple inches. But I think like you said, I think he was aware of what was going on there. So.
Yeah, it's a big winner on this cycle is Maxwell Caldwell. He came out of the pits here with a 3.5 second lead. Him and Brandon pitted together, but Maxwell was able to. I mean, he may have had some aggressive outlaps or something like that, but so he has no pressure behind him right now. He's got nice and clear sailing in front and behind. Looks like Ryan Kelly. He's still cycling through in that number 13 car. Looks like he's going to come out in 6th position. But again, he's going to have some fresher tires than those in front of him. Again, you can see he's got about a second gap or so, but that's going to be easily enough to chase that back down. And then, again, I think probably go back into that fuel save mode if that's his strategy here.
I mean, like you said, or like we were talking about before, he knows he can make it that far now. But I don't know if he was saving fuel on that run or not. But and also, he had more of a draft in that run, so It's going to be a little different here now with these guys kind of spread out and separated, and you got guys running by themselves.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at his lap. He's actually fallen off a little bit off those guys, so I wonder if he's either saving tires, fuel, or both in that number 13. So that gap hasn't been closing yet for Ryan, so we'll see how that changes things a little bit. But we've got a good little second pack here for second, third, fourth, and fifth. Yeah. That's where we're at right now, yeah. So you got Brandon Passalacqua, you see Todd Merkel on the inside trying to get that second spot. Then you've got James Ledford in 48, Michael Spell in fifth.
Now, if you were in these guys' position, if I was in the position, Todd Merkel's position, I mean, would you just kind of be content to run in a line with these guys? You got 4 cars right here that are pretty much all kind of on the same strategy. They can just kind of line up, do their thing, even swap out being the lead car and save a lot of fuel, as opposed to Maxwell Caldwell. He's up there all by himself. He can't do anything.
Yeah, I feel like they're fighting a little harder than they should.
That's
close they're off of two.
Yeah, they should. To me, they should just kind of exactly how they are right now. 4 cars in a line, stay like that.
Yeah, and then
they can save fuel. They might be able to get a little bit of a draft going. The 4 guys working together and actually catch Maxwell, or if anything, have more fuel than he's going to have.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if they stay lined up like this, it would definitely go well. They say the only thing that I would like to see if they want to close that gap, of course, is going to be to start trying to push a little bit down the straightaways. If you're Brennan, give Todd a little bit of shove if you get to him. Of course, I mean, you want to save fuel as well. But again, right now all these drivers are definitely in the 3-stop strategy here. So the only one that might be able to do a 2-stopper is that 13 Ryan Kelly, but I have a feeling with how late he had to, or how by himself he is right now, I don't know if that's going to be working for him right here.
And I don't want to say the word. I don't even think about it. I don't even want to tiptoe.
I don't know what you're talking about. But I didn't hear anything.
There is a thing here called green-white checkers, and if we have to use one of those or more than one of those, then that's another thing to think about there at the fuel for the end of the race. So.
Yeah, it looks like some of those that had to pit there on that first run, they're coming back in now. I see the 16, Quabi Brooks, is in. So he's going to go ahead and get his pit stop done here with 63 to go. We're watching right now this third group right now. We've got Charles Johnson. He's been able to stretch it out away from this group. Mark Brown's just ahead of him. And then just a little further back, you've got that 78 Nicholas Nook is there. Corey Cook is also off sequence right now, unfortunately, with that earlier contact. But then you got David Patton, Jim Brooks, and Dwight Plesh are all right here in this battle. And I think Corey Lane's trying to catch that party as well here. And yeah, 09 of Corey Cook is in as well now.
And I'm trying to, are these guys catching our leader here? Or are they closing in on him a little bit?
We're at 3 seconds now. So yeah, I think the gap has closed a little bit. Last time by, they were just only about a tenth or so quicker that last time around. But again, I mean, over the course of 20, 30 laps in these fuel runs, I mean, that's definitely going to bring the gap in a little bit more. So, and again, if they can start working a little better together, I think that'll go a long ways. But you can see Todd Merkel, actually, he's starting to stretch it out a little bit from that 23 of Brandon Passalacqua right now.
Yeah, he's just been kind of, doing his own thing there. And it looks, like you said, he has definitely been, like right now, you can visibly see he is pulling away from Brandon there, and I don't know if it's just because new tires. I mean, they all should be on the same tires. It's kind of strange how he's able to walk away from them like that. I guess just different lines. I do notice that Todd seems to be entering the corners more of a high line, arcing it down a little bit more, more of a last minute kind of arc. And it seems like the other guys are kind of keeping it down more on the bottom. And I think that's the problem right there. I think if you're entering the corners low, you're going to bind the car up. You're not going to carry as much momentum compared to if you arc it in deeper. So
I think Todd's actually, I think he's just got pace right now. You can see he's cut it down to 2.5 seconds now.
He's walking away from him. I mean, it's crazy.
I'm looking at the lap times, or also the pit stops. So Todd pitted 10 laps ago, whereas Maxwell, Brandon, they pitted 12 ago. So he does have 2 laps fresher tires. And I say it sounds like nothing, but it's amazing how much it actually plays a difference.
Plus, in that first run or any of these runs, we don't know how much they are using their tires. It's all about being smooth, and that's the thing about when you're like up front and you're by yourself like he is right now, and like your leader Maxwell. You might not have the advantage of the draft, but you have the advantage of that you can be as smooth as you possibly can be. you're just out there on a Sunday drive. You're just kicking down laps. All you're doing is trying to get as many laps clicked off as you possibly can, and trying to run each lap perfect, hit your marks, hit your lines. You know, you don't want to wear those tires out. And the more you're moving that steering wheel around, the little bit of jerking that you have to do if you're trying to save a car because it's getting tight or pushing, that's wearing your tires out every time you do that. So you want to be as smooth as possible. And right now, I think that's what Todd is doing, and that's why he's finding that so much speed.
I think we're definitely seeing some of the drivers do that. I think Maxwell, of course, is definitely trying to take care of him because, again, they're only about halfway through this fuel run so far. If you abuse the tires, they're going to start plowing at the end. I'm wondering if Todd might be going full tilt here, just try to chase that gap down as close as you can, maybe grab the draft of it. That way, when you pit, you're just that much closer. So
I think he's running qualifying. Like he's each and every lap he's running right now. He's thinking he's trying to run as a qualifying lap. You know, I mean, he's not abusing those tires, but he's trying to run every single lap to his max potential. I mean, like you said, it's important if he can get that draft of Maxwell in front of him. I mean, that would make all the difference in the world. I mean, he has really opened up that gap between him and all those three other cars behind him.
Yeah, he's built over a second. Looks like about a second over Brandon. And
Really
I'm saying he's down to about 1.7 seconds now over Maxwell, which was about 3 seconds not that long ago.
Yeah.
These last few laps, Don, he's been about 2.5 tenths quicker every lap than Maxwell. And so we'll see what this lap does. But you can see now, I mean, he's just getting to that point where he can probably just sniff the draft of that number 94.
And you'll also see that he's changed his tactic a little bit on there on front stretch. He's actually kind of bringing that car down just a little bit, going, you know, I don't want those guys behind me to have a little bit of this wind, or any of this draft. Let me break it up a little bit. So, yeah, he's definitely plowing ahead. It's a very impressive run by Todd Merkel right now.
Yeah, so I'm running on board with him right now, watching what he's doing, and say he is still, like you said, going a little bit. I'm actually surprised he's going a little bit further below the seam than I thought he would. This time he goes just on the seam. You can see he cuts down below it just on the exit, which I think is about the perfect line you can take. But yeah, you see from the onboard shot, you see Maxwell now. He's bringing it down to kind of shorten the front stretch here. And yeah, lap times are starting to settle out a little bit. And I see that last time by Maxwell is actually just under a tenth of a second quicker. So I wonder if now Maxwell's, he was saving those tires, and now he might be saying, all right, now it's time to kind of get that, try to pick it back up here and build that gap back up to that number 81. However, with that though, we're on lap 46 of 100, so we're about 5 laps away from halfway. So a strategy call here, Don, could be if you're that 81, Todd Merkel, you could short pit by a few laps and try to build that or gain the gap difference by there, and then you just kind of cruise in the draft to kind of save your fuel if you need to on that last run. So there's a lot of options for this 81 car to close that gap, because it is stretching again now just about to 2 seconds again. So I think Maxwell saw that gap closing and he decided, all right, I need to step it up a bit.
Because it was you could visibly see that gap closing, and then now obviously Maxwell has found another gear there, and he's kind of poured it on just a little bit. But that's another thing. These drivers, they get into a rhythm. When you get these long green flag runs, you get into a rhythm, you get into a pace, you get into your zone. I know it sounds cliche, but you really do. You get into your zone, you concentrate, you're hitting your marks, and sometimes the tires wear. It's weird. You get to a certain point where the tires wear, and it sets with the car. It matches with the car. The tires wear enough to where the car is just perfect. You're just like, this is great. This car is driving excellent. These tires have just enough wear to where I can put this car wherever I want with the speed, and I think he's kind of in that zone right now, because Maxwell's really putting on a clinic for the rest of these guys right now.
Yeah, the other thing that I've noticed is that second group with Brandon Paslacqua, they've caught right back up to Todd here. In the last couple laps,
yeah,
they've actually been quicker than the leaders. So it's all kind of coming all back together again. He said Todd obviously made that big charge to try to get back up there. But now the second pack here, again, I think they may be saving their tires a little bit more. Now they're starting to close back into this gap as well. So what I'm going to watch is once we hit this lap 50 mark, once we get to halfway here, is anybody going to try to short pit to close the gap to that 94? Because again, the field's definitely starting to spread out a little bit, so it does have that potential of going green, because you never know. I mean, and that's the risk versus reward. I mean, if you pit early, you could get trapped a lap down, or again, with, like we said, it's kind of a tale of two races. When you have those brand new tires, your balls to the wall, foot to the floor the whole way. So we'll see if that comes into play, because I mean that's where I think you could gain a lot of time just on those fresh tires. You can gain probably at least a second or two a lap with the set of fresh tires for a lap or two. So that's kind of the strategy. If I'm Todd Merkel, Brandon, James, Michael, if I'm any of those 4 drivers here, I want to try. I want to beat that 94 to the pits here by a lap or two. Do like 2 qualifying laps, and that should get you right into that window where when that 94 comes out, you should be right with him, I would think.
That's a good point there. That's a good point. I mean, short pitting a little bit, and it might be the way to go.
Saying we just crossed the line. There's halfway there for our race leader, Maxwell Caldwell. As I've been jumping around a little bit, Ryan Kelly, I ride on board with him for a little bit just to see maybe he was trying to save extra fuel. I didn't see him clutching it or anything on the entry, so I don't know. He just might be kind of stuck right now in his own little spot here in that 6th position.
Somebody coming down pit road. I'm trying to
figure out who Dwight Plush in the 44.
Plush, yeah.
So Dwight's going to split it in quarters, it looks like. So he pitted 25 laps ago, so he's running right at that number. He's going to go 25, 50, 75. So that's his strategy here that he's sticking with.
That's the only action I see on pit road right now. I'm kind of
I think we'll see a few more
come down, but I think we're going to see some more here momentarily.
I say we got a little battle here right around that 10th spot. You can see the 10 of Corey Lane, 28 Charles Johnson, 76 of Jim Brooks, and right behind them is also, I think that's Nicholas Nook and David Patton. This is a 5-car battle right now with 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and so 8th through 12th there, apologies. And yeah, you're right though, nobody else has yet decided to hop in yet.
Taking it yet, not yet, but I have a feeling we're going to see a few guys hopping out pit road here shortly.
And you see Brandon's actually gotten around the 81 of Todd Merkel, so again, I think that charge from that 81 is just a little bit too aggressive, and you can see the gaps started to stretch back out again now to that 2.3, 2.4 second mark. So Maxwell able to hold off that charge, and he was actually again about a tenth and a half quicker than these guys in front of him, or these guys behind him, I should say.
And still, nobody. I really figured I'd see a few more guys when we hit that halfway mark that would hit pit road, but nobody as of yet. Besides, who was it?
The 44 Dwight Plush. Yeah, he was the first one in. And so I want to see where Dwight cycles out. I mean, he was a little bit further back, unfortunately, but he's going to gain a lot of track time. I'm waiting for him to get his first lap under speed and in that 44, just to tell you how fast he is compared to the leaders, because again right now they're running in the 39.3s, 39.5 range, somewhere around there. So once that 44 comes around, I'll tell you what his lap time was, but I'm going to guess it's going to be in the 37s. So again, probably about a 2 seconds
somebody else
quicker.
Coming down pit road. Who is this?
Is the 76 of Jim Brooks. He's hitting the pits.
Coming down pit road. Yep.
So yeah, he was on a similar boat as Dwight there with his pit stop cycle, I think. 47 Dalton
47.
Hayes.
So I think you're going to start seeing a few cars. You're going to see pit cycles for those guys that are on this strategy here.
And yes, the leaders all still staying out. I'm honestly still surprised about this. I'm not sure why they're stretching it now, if they have to make it on 3 stops. Because again, as of lap 50, they could have easily all made it there on 2 more or 1 more stop after the one they've just done right now. And yeah, 28 Charles Johnson
he's coming down pit road.
And then, so want to mention Dwight. He ran a 38.1 to the leader's 39.4, so about a second and a half. And this time around, he ran a 37.877, fastest lap for him. So again, that time I'm now just a little over a second and a half quicker than the leader. So that's what I'm saying. 2 laps at that kind of speed, you're going to close that 2-second gap to nothing. So
yeah, you're right.
I'm a little surprised. And actually, Ryan Kelly, he stayed out light. He's going to do the opposite this time. You saw it didn't work for him on the long run. Probably couldn't make it to the end. So he's going to short pit here. So he's going to do what we had talked about. Again, he had a lot further distance to go from the lead pack than that 23 and 81 and company. All right, so if I'm the crew chief for one of these 4 drivers here on 2nd through 5th here, I'm telling him I think someone's got to react here before that 94, because if he pits first, then I think it's a losing battle here, because I mean even right now he's still actually lapping quicker than these guys. So yeah, I'm not sure what the strategy is here at this point.
They have to do something. That's the only way they're really going to make anything happen.
I say the other thing that the Maxwell's got going for him, he's starting to catch a little bit of traffic, so he's going to catch that draft. That's going to help him just go that little bit quicker. You see he's got that 36 of Art Peck right in front of him. Art's yet to make a pit stop, so he's going to get a bit of a tow here and just help that car out just that little bit more.
A lot, yeah. Every little bit helps. I mean, further along in the run too, when you're already losing some speed.
It's like Maxwell stays out. Watching the second group. Nope, they all blow right by the pit.
And you gotta wonder, are those drivers at all communicating with each other, even if they're not teammates, just to let each other know when they're gonna pit, so they don't have any mishaps.
Yeah, it's a good point. And saying if I'm Ryan Kelly, I actually really like what's going on right now, because the more they stay out here, the more you're gaining on them. And again, we know Ryan's really good at saving tires, and we saw how hard it is to pass as well. So I think with this being, when this is all said and done on the pit stop cycle, I think Ryan Kelly might wind up coming out with the lead here. Looks like Maxwell still stays out. See the 66 Mike Morrison is in. But again, our leaders here all staying out. We're at 42 to go. I mean, again, at this point, they can pit. Yeah, I'm still at a loss on the pit strategy here from some of these drivers.
I mean, maybe they're thinking, just in case, green, white, checkered, or who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, let's say 38. David Patton is in as well, and that K&N, K&N Camaro ZL1. And let's jump over to Maxwell. He's got a little bit of traffic. Oh, here comes up. Maxwell's in.
He's coming in. Let's see if any of these guys behind him. None of those guys back there come in. They all stay out. Maxwell's coming in. Ooh, man,
a little bit of aggressive entry
there. Yeah, I hope he didn't speed, but we'll find out here as Maxwell's coming to the service of his pit crew here shortly. He's going to get 4 tires and fuel. He's going to really has to nail this pit stop. Doesn't want to miss his entry or anything. So,
yeah, you got to definitely hit your marks here and get everything you can. But looks like he nails it actually right on the spot there. That was a perfect pit stall entry there.
Totally nailed it. So go back to see Brandon. I think he's setting up the pit here too. He is. I think he's going to pit this time, plus the 2 guys behind him. Yeah, you're going to have 3 guys coming in here. Brandon, not Todd though. Todd Merkel stays out, but Brandon's coming in. James Ledford's coming in, and Michael Spell. All 3 of them came in there together.
And I'm watching. I'm going to watch Maxwell come out because I'm waiting for that 13 and Ryan Kelly. Again, Ryan pitted. Let's see how many laps ago now was Ryan's spot. 5 laps ago.
Todd Merkel, our leader, getting ready to pass Maxwell.
Yeah,
he's coming out
that puts him. Yeah, so that puts Maxwell for the moment a lap down. It's only gonna last a lap or so.
Sorry to interrupt you. The 13 though. What were you saying, Ryan Kelly?
I was watching Ryan Kelly. I wanted to see if he was going to jump in front and get the lead. He actually was not able to. But I also don't know if Ryan's probably running qualifying laps right now in that 13. Probably just trying to save as much as he can on the tire side of things. But with that being said, he is now. Say we'll see here the distance. I mean, it's only about a half a straightaway, and you see actually here comes all those other drivers that just pitted, James Ledford, Brandon Pasolaco and company. He's going to jump all those guys for a position here with their pit stops. So Ryan Kelly, I think, is going to jump from being in 6th to probably 2nd once this whole pit stop cycle finishes up here.
Cycles through. Yeah, I'm curious when Todd Merkel's going to finally bring that 81 car down pit road.
I say it probably won't be too far away here. I mean, he's gone 31. We saw. Oh yeah, he's in now.
Road right now. There he goes.
So the only thing I can think of looks like he got slowed down nice and easy there.
Yeah.
I'll say the only thing I can think of is maybe if he does stretch it here, instead of breaking up in quarters and doing 4 tires every time, maybe he does 4 here and then do a short fill with 2 tires at the last stop, again pending us all going green. So with that though, I mean, we'll wait and watch this pit stop here cycle through for the 81. But this should put Maxwell Caldwell back in the lead by probably about 2 to 3 seconds, I believe, over Ryan Kelly. And then he's going to have a couple seconds over Brandon, Michael, and James here. So we'll see now where Todd's going to cycle out with these drivers after his pit stop. As he leaves, Maxwell's already passing him into turn number 1. So you can see him in the distance there.
Not off pit road yet. Todd.
And actually, yeah, you can see Todd's going to lose. I think he's going to fall back to that 6th position now. You can see he's not even going to get in the draft here of those guys. No. So that pitting, 2 laps later than the rest of the guys, you can see how much it's going to hurt him here in that number 81.
And pitting by himself.
I don't know. I feel like for me, I would actually rather pit myself, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, he doesn't have a drafting partner, so to say, as these other guys had somebody to, latch onto right away.
That's a good point. I'm thinking more of just how aggressive you can pit by yourself versus if you got somebody around you. So Yeah, so Maxwell Caldwell is going to cycle back in the lead about 3.5 seconds almost over Ryan Kelly. But then here comes those fresher tires of Brandon Passalacqua. He's going to try to take the inside right off the bat and use the momentum on the inside. And then right behind him, you've got the 88 Michael Spell, 48 of James Ledford. So these are the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th place cars. And I think Ryan's just going to let these guys go because, again, I think his goal right here was just to be able to get back into that draft.
Yep, I agree. I think you're right.
And I think now he's just going to go on kind of some fuel and tire save strategy and then be able to make a charge here on the remaining part of this race. But again, that 81, though, Todd Merkel, he's about, let's see, waiting for the gap to come through, about 2.5 seconds away from Ryan Kelly. So we'll see if those new tires are enough to help him close that gap. But I think that's going to be a hard-pressed one for him to make happen here just because, again, of that distance. So let's jump around. So we've been showing the front a bunch here, Don. We're going to keep going through the field here. 7th place is Mark Brown in that number 68 machine. And I got a good little battle here, actually 3-wide battle for the moment. So Jim Brooks, Charles Johnson, that's for the 8th and 9th. It looks like, unfortunately, Mike actually is a lap down in that 66 machine. Right now, Charles showing in 8th, Jim in 9th. Behind them, Corey Cook's going to probably have to pit again soon in that 09 machine. Again, Corey was one of those ones caught up in that early incident there that did not bring out a yellow. But right now, Corey showing in that 10th position. Behind him is the 44 of Dwight Plush. Dwight in 11th spot, started 18th. Then we have the 38 of David Patton, not too far behind him. And let's see who else we got here. Nicholas Nook in the 78 is showing in 13th. And then again, one of those other drivers involved, Clobby Brooks, is in that 19th position with that number 16 car. So also going to be in the same position as Corey, going to have to pit not too far away from that pit stop as well. I think they're going to have to stretch it a little bit, Don, just to make sure that they can make it to the end. But I think they should be able to make it on one more stop, though.
They should be okay with one more stop. Like you said, we only got a third of the race left. And, yeah, I think these guys should be okay, like you said, as far as making it to the end.
Yeah, so the last car in the lead lap right now is Corey Lane in the 10. Corey pitted 6 laps ago, so he's going to have slightly fresher tires. And those that are trapped a lap down at the moment, the 83 of Jack Walls. Actually, Jack's looks like kind of off the pace here. Not sure if he's just letting everybody by, and then we'll get back into it here. Jack right now the first car 1 lap down, and then you've got the 36 of Art Peck, who actually just got around Jack. So that's going to be big for if a caution comes out. That's going to put Art right now in the lucky dog position. But then you've got that 66 of Mike Morrison that we mentioned just a moment ago, and then the 388 of Doug Johnson. And then right now, last car on track, I think he possibly had a pit penalty. Is going to be that 47 of Dalton Hayes, because I know he was further up here before these pit stop cycles, so I think he may have just got burned by probably a pit penalty or something in that number 47.
I think you might be right. Yeah, that'll probably he might have either sped going down pit road or got too hot coming into pit road.
So yeah, so say looking at the gap, it's still holding just about that, looks like 2.5-3 second gap. Now over Brandon Passalacqua in that 23 car. We saw him get around Ryan Kelly a little bit ago. And actually, I'm trying to find that 13 of Ryan Kelly, he's fallen off the pace a bunch here. He's all the way back now behind the 81 of Todd Merkel. Saying Todd's not even back at the track, so I'm not sure what's going on with Ryan Kelly here.
I think he's just saving, trying, I don't know.
I don't. That's too. I say he pitted too early to be in the saving mode. But I mean, I also don't feel like 3, 4, 5 lap tires would make that big of a difference though for this number 13 car. So I'm not sure what's going on right here with Ryan Kelly. Trying to see pace wise, I saw about 190 there entering turn number 1. Not sure if that's the normal speed for some of these drivers entering. Let's jump over to a different group here. 195 for David Patton. So yeah, I'm not sure what Ryan Kelly's strategy is right now, or if something's going on with that car. Maybe and also with this being sim racing, maybe his throttle pedal isn't calibrated quite correctly. You always have those weird little hiccups.
Experiencing a hardware issue, or who knows.
So we'll keep an eye on Ryan.
Does it look like he has any damage?
He's in. Actually, he's in the pits here.
Wall or something like that, and.
No, the car looks clean, and he's actually in the pits here, so we're gonna follow through and watch this pit stop here. He should be able to make it to the end from this point in the race, so maybe you're gonna try again a short pit strategy, or yeah, we'll see what's going on for that 13 of Ryan Kelly here. I'm a little curious to see.
Yeah, that's.
So let's see, he's taking rights for sure. So we'll see if he takes 2 or if he's gonna go with all 4. And looks like 4 tires stop for that 13. So yeah, something must have not gone quite to plan for Ryan Kelly. He's back up and away. So that's going to put Ryan a lap down. However, he, like I said, he'll be able to make it to the end from here. But again, though, just, yeah, I mean, this is a really early stop compared to where the rest of these guys can go. Probably another 10, 15 laps at least before they would have to make a pit stop. So we'll see how that cycles through for Ryan. I'll say, again, something may be going on with that car. Also watching Todd Merkel, he's starting to close that gap. Might be having to abuse his stuff a little bit, but he's within a second now of James Ledford and company. He's ran last time by was a half a second quicker as well.
Yeah, we know he's got the pace to be able to try to get up there and battle again with these guys. So, you know, these laps are winding down here, man. We're getting ready to we're shooting on almost 25 to go.
Yeah, so I think for Todd here, his goal is going to be just the same thing. Try to grab the draft of these guys, and then once he gets that point, then maybe make that pit stop. Again, I think if you short pit by a little bit, I think that's the way to go. Although, I mean, I could be way off because it obviously didn't work for Ryan Kelly there, unless something else is going on with that number 13 machine. So we'll wait and see. Doug Johnson's in the pits. He was one of those drivers that was involved in that earlier incident that did not bring out the yellow. So he's going to pit here. Should be his final stop of the race. We saw the 16 of Quabi Brooks already did as well. And then looks like Corey Cook actually. Looks like Corey was one of those involved as well. Looks like Corey actually wound up retiring from the race in that 09 machine.
Down, yeah.
Yeah, no, he was in that incident as well. So unfortunately, just probably was riding around waiting for the yellow, and it's like at that point it's like, I don't think I'm getting it. So yeah, so it looks like so Todd is back up with the lead with the second pack here.
Yeah, he's caught those guys definitely.
So he'll be back in their tow here. So we'll see what he does. I don't think he's going to be able to make the charge like he did before. Again because of the wear.
The run for that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, say that gap is. I mean, it is slowly closing. Now you see Brennan's down to about 2.3 seconds. I kind of have a feeling that 94 Maxwell Caldwell, I think he's kind of playing cat and mouse right now, kind of letting them get closer to him where they start getting a little more aggressive, try to bring that gap down even more. And that's when he, like you said, he kind of finds that next gear and says, okay, now let me show you what my actual pace is.
Well, we saw him do that earlier in the race. I mean,
exactly.
He was leading the field, pacing the field, and then we saw who was it in second that we were talking about.
That was Todd at that point.
Huh?
That was the 81 of Todd Merkel.
Yeah. Todd Merkel, that's right. He made a charge, and then it looked like Maxwell saw him coming, so he was like, well, I just got to step on the gas a little bit more.
Yeah, so he kind of released the sandbags, if you will, and then let things happen. So looks like Charles Johnson is going to pit here at 25 to go. I think I was going to say that's going to probably bring Dwight Plush in as well, and sure enough, here comes Dwight. Again, Dwight's right on the numbers. He's going 25, 50, 75, so he had his plan. He's sticking with it here. So those drivers are going to make their pit stops. Again, we jump back over to that battle here in that second pack. And actually, it looks like that 48 of James Ledford's falling off just a little bit here. So we'll see if Todd's going to try to capitalize on that and get that spot right now. Because that second pack, they've got that 388 of Doug Johnson with the fresh tires. So they're able to steal a little bit of his draft, I think. But again, it doesn't look like it's enough right now to do anything with that 94 car.
You know, unless Maxwell makes a mistake, I don't see anybody having anything for him. He's just put on a clinic from the start to almost finish here. Started this race currently in first, and has been up front. I mean, this whole race pretty much. He's just been able to make this track his own. I mean, nobody has anything for him, and I don't see anything changing in this last 22 laps here that we're gonna have.
Yeah, so watching a few more pit stops. Looks like Mark Brown is in, Jim Brooks is in as well. So Jim was battling there with the 10 of Corey Lane for the 8th position, so they had a good little battle. So he's going to try to pit here a lap early. It looks like Nicholas Nook in the 78, he is in as well. So it's going to be a few more of those cars hitting the pits here with 23 to go. But yeah, like you said, though, I mean, again, definitely don't want to do any commentator's curse, but yeah, I mean, Maxwell's definitely put on a clinic tonight. Like you said, he's been putting on some really stout laps. You see a 388 getting one of his laps back there with those fresh tires. But again, that gap, though, I mean, he's actually been able to stretch it back out again. Now it's about 2.7 seconds over that 23 of Brandon Pasalacqua.
And right now you'll see, I'm trying to figure out, is that, yeah, James Ledford. I just want to make sure these guys are on the lead lap. I didn't make the mistake again. But, yeah, it looks like Todd's kind of trying to get a few spots here. He's getting by James.
Here
James
comes a few short pitters, yeah, say. So we've got the 88 and the 48. They're going to do a short pit there, which, again, I think that's what they should have done the first time around. So they're going to pit here together. You talked about wanting to have a friend, so they're doing that here. So we'll see if they can close. Again, if they do a couple qualifying laps, can they get close enough to bring it into the draft of that 94? And then, of course, now the other question is, does Maxwell react to this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious. What I'm worried, and like I said, I don't want to say the word, but I'm just worried about these guys that might be close on fuel at the end here.
He's reacting. Here comes the 94. He saw those two coming. He's going to jump in as well. Looks like the 81-23, they stay out. So I think that's what Maxwell saw. He did not want to get that gap closed up on him. Yeah, I mean, we've seen him. Usually he was the one leading it, so this is only going to give him about a lap or so on the fresher tires. So as long as he does what he did last time, gets a good pit entry, hits his stall here. So watch him do that. Looks like he nails it again perfectly. And so now just has to have a safe pit exit. And yeah, I don't think that's going to be enough of a gap for those two to close it back down on him. So, but we'll watch and see. And we'll see if Brandon, if he's going to react. It looks like that 23 is going to come in. Yep, he is. That's going to leave now Todd Merkel as our race leader in that number 81. And so now what I want to see is, where is this 94 going to come out in relation to those that pitted there before him? First, of course, is going to be actually the 13 of Ryan Kelly. Ryan, of course, we mentioned they're pitted way early, but again, I think Maxwell, he's going to have it. I'm looking at out the back here, and it's clear sailing in front of him and a nice big gap behind him. I see Ryan Kelly in the distance, but Ryan's I'd say about 2 seconds at least behind the 94 car.
Yeah, I think I think Maxwell's. I think he's got this thing in lock as far as, if everything remains the same right now.
Yeah, so here comes the 88 and the 48 with the fresh tires. They're going to probably try to make quick work of that 13 of Ryan Kelly. I say Ryan pitted really early, so he's got about 12 laps already on his. So about 10 more laps on tires than these two that just went by him there. So yeah, I'll say we're still kind of through the cycle of pit stops. So right now still Todd Merkel is showing as our race leader. And again, this could be a strategy for Todd here. He can stretch this thing as far as he can. He can go, let's see, he's at lap 21 right. He can go about 9 more laps, which would give him to pit here within 10 to go. And then maybe he just does a splash of fuel or something like that to save some time. I don't know if it'll be a race-winning move, but I mean, it could definitely change things up a little bit, though.
I mean, it could. You never know what could happen there. He definitely could change things up doing it that way. Maxwell, though, I mean, I don't even know what to say. The guy has just dominated this race tonight. So he's done everything right, and I'm actually curious because where's Ryan Kelly? Ryan Kelly is back in that sixth place. He was the car that we were talking about earlier that might have been having issues. Doesn't seem like he's up to speed now, though, right?
Yeah, no, I think he's back up to speed. Just right now, he doesn't have the tires like those other drivers do, so he's running about a second lap slower. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened on that first run, or the second run, I should say. It was kind of odd. He ran it really long as if he was going to try to do the two-stopper. Maybe just the strategy wound up biting him. I'm not sure, but you see that 23 Brendan Pasolaco was not too far away from grabbing that spot away from him. Drivers that still need to pit, though, are going to be that 81 Todd Merkel. The 38 hasn't pitted either. Oh, I saw a little bit of smoke. That always makes you nervous.
I think
it may have been a connection. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I see it every now and then too, and I'm like, whoa.
But yeah, so no, David Patton has yet to pit as well. He's got about probably 2 to 3 more laps till he's going to have to come in, I think. So I think that's what the plan is for Todd and David here. They're just going to try to run this thing as far as they can.
Which is going to put Maxwell Caldwell back into the lead.
And looks like David is in, so that's going to leave Todd Merkel as the last man out. So again, Todd can go probably about 5 more laps or so. Like I said, he'll be able to pit here just around 10 to go. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what the strategy is for him. If he's going to maybe do fuel only. I know he's coming in. No, he's not coming. I thought I saw him cut left.
Too. Yeah, it looked like he was. I was watching him too.
But yeah, when we talk about the lap times, though, I mean, he's running 2 seconds a lap slower than some of these fast cars right now. He ran a 39.7 that last time by. Brandon Pasolaco ran a 37.8. So yeah, just about 2 seconds that he's losing with him staying out here. So he's just gambling right now. I mean, this is what you have to do sometimes. Let's say when you've got somebody like Maxwell Caldwell that's just kind of put on a clinic tonight. That's kind of what you got to do. Is like, all right, well, I'm going to try something. I got to find a way to try to compete with this 94.
I mean, you can't, like when Maxwell's been so perfect tonight, you can't rely on him to make a mistake. You can't expect it. You have to try to shake things up. So you got to do something.
Yeah, so we'll hop on board with that 94 car because right now he's got nice clear sailing, pretty much a full straightaway to the next car in front of him, which is the 66 of Mike Morrison. So yeah, he's kind of in nice clear sailing. Say that he just passed the 388 to put him back another lap down. So and again, and he's got fresher tires as well, so he's going to keep stretching that gap. So Max, like you said, he's just kind of right now. I would say you pretty much call it like a Sunday afternoon drive here. He's just, I say the only thing that we had to say about Maxwell is these final laps here are going to feel like an eternity here because when you're in this kind of a position, you're just like, I know something's going to happen to make my life difficult. So. I'll say don't hope that for him. I'll say he's had a great race. You definitely don't want to see anything like that happen. But when you're in that kind of position, you definitely have that going through your mind here at these races.
Yeah, you're worried about anybody that you drive around, a lap car, anybody that you're going to be around. You're kind of, you give them a little extra room. You're a little weary about it, and you're just all you're trying to do is get past those last 10 laps.
Yeah, and you're also yelling at the other drivers like, all right, everybody be nice with each other. No, don't pass them. Stay in line.
Nobody, do that thing for 90th. I don't even want to say it.
Yeah, so Todd Merkel, he still stays out.
Oh, I was going to say Michael Spell, good run for him. Starting 10th, and he, being able to hold solid still in third place. So good run for him tonight.
Yeah, Michael's having a really solid run.
6 cars in the lead lap.
Yeah, you're right. He's saying, like you said, pretty much most of our drivers here started towards the front. Like I said, the few that have made big gains are the 88 Michael Spell from 10th to 3rd right now, which of course is going to actually at the moment, once things cycle through, is going to be 10th to 2nd once Todd pits here.
True.
Which I'm seeing, I think now. He is in.
Yeah. Right now.
All right, so he's pitting with coming to 10 to go. All right, so do we think there's going to be a tire strategy here, 2 or none, or are we just sticking with 4, you think?
I would try to take as little fuel as I can possibly take and 2 tires. That's what I would do on this. He's got nothing to lose. He's got to try to get as many spots as he possibly can here at the end. So we're going to see.
Yeah, we're watching him hit his pit mark here. Looks like he slides to a stall nice and good as they didn't overshoot it at all. So here goes the right side tire. So definitely at least right. So we'll see if lefts go on or if he's going to go with the fuel or 2 only. Nope, he's going all 4.
Tires.
Which again, I say isn't a terrible strategy because
it's not.
Because you don't know what's going to happen the rest of this way. He's going to cycle out, it looks like, in front of the 68 of Mark Brown, which will put him in the 7th position. So we'll wait to see if that's where he does wind up. Because he could actually chase, I think he'll still be able to chase back down Ryan Kelly. Because Ryan, again's got much older tires. So that's going to complete our pit stop cycle. So now that's going to put the lead officially back into the hands of Maxwell Caldwell as we have now 9 to go. And like we mentioned as well, it's going to move that 88 of Michael Spell here up to that 2nd position. Oh, actually, as I say that, no, Brandon Pasolaco, he made it. He got 2 for 1 there that last time around. Brandon, again, he pitted actually 2 laps later than Michael and James. So move Brandon now up into 2nd place and James back to 3rd. So the slightly fresher tires looks like they've actually worked out pretty well for that 23 car here.
Hey, every little bit helps with those, especially here in Michigan, man. Like we saw earlier in the race, cars after their first pit stops that had just a few laps on their tires were suffering compared to guys that had a couple laps that were fresher tires.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And as you can see, it's definitely been panning out for some of these guys. So yeah, right now, so with that cycle, so now we definitely have we are showing, it looks like 14 cars on the lead lap. So let's say again, though, I don't think that the 94 is done. He's going to kind of pick him up and put him down as he can. But we're talking about some drivers that have made some pretty good gains. One we have to mention started in the 19th position, is up into 9th right now, is that 76 of Jim Brooks. Looks like he pitted It's like he's got slightly. I was going to see if he could chase down Corey Lane, but I think Corey's got fresher tires than him. So I think Corey's going to chase him, or probably Corey's going to run away a little bit there. However, it looks like he's going to have to try to hold off that 28 of Charles Johnson. Say Charles started 13th and is up into 10th right now. But yeah, so say I think those are the biggest movers right now. Is going to be that 76 and the 88 here. So I mean, again, with this whole race so far going green, I mean they've done a good job of trying to make positions here.
Yeah, they've done a great job of it, and you know, like our two front cars, first and second. I mean, both started in those respective positions, and everything goes according to plan. Well, I hope Brandon would rather finish in that first spot, but if everything goes according to plan, those guys look to be finishing in those spots. So.
Yeah, I mean, I say Brandon's not. I say he's definitely not going to be breathing easy right now. I say he hasn't been able to shake off Michael or James. Yeah. I say they're still right there behind him. I say any little mistake he makes, they'll be ready to pounce. And so I wouldn't doubt to see Michael if he can get a good run here. I mean, he'll make a charge at some point, at least to try to have a chance at, as long as those tires are going to hold on to that number 80 to make a charge. Because again, we don't know how hard Brandon actually was abusing those tires to catch up and pass those guys either. So there's that kind of that balance that we talked about, how much you were abusing those tires on the short run. And say as we go across there with 5 to go. We mentioned Todd Merkel. He ran a 38-1 compared to leaders in the 39s, so he's got about a full second on lap time than them, and he's only about 3 seconds away from Ryan Kelly, which it's gonna, again, I think that gap's gonna close pretty quickly. So I think we'll see. Yeah. So again, Ryan pitted about 26 laps ago. Todd pitted 6 ago, so he's got 20 lap fresher tires. I think Todd will be able to get back up into that top 5 here.
I mean, he doesn't have much time to do it in, so he's got to make quick work of them. With those fresh tires, he should be able to, but we'll see.
Yeah, say my bad math says he can do it, because if he's a second a lap quicker and we've got 4 to go here, and he's about 2 seconds behind, that should give him enough time to be able to make it with about a lap to spare. So we'll see how bad my math is.
Well, right up front still, Maxwell Caldwell dominating this race in that 94 machine. We're closing in on, 3 to go here?
Yeah, say next time around it's going to be 3 laps remaining. Maxwell Caldwell, again, pole sitter as well, has definitely led the most laps. Probably would have led all the laps if not for some of these drivers running along on fuel. But say he's just got to go 3 more laps, and again, he's going to be saying, just kind of begging everybody, hey, keep it clean. No funny business. Let's just make it to the end. And I'm looking at that 23, Brendan Passalacqua. I think he's definitely trying to use his stuff up now. He's been running some pretty quick lap times, and you can see he's built that gap as well over Michael Spell and James Ledford. So I think he's giving it his last couple qualifying laps here before we get to that white flag here.
Yeah, definitely before getting the white flag.
So at this point, if you're those guys, it's like, well, might as well just give it everything I have and see how close I can at least bring the gap down to.
Yeah.
Because I say right now it is down to about a second and a half. Again, he's had about that nice, comfortable 3-second lead for a good chunk of it. So as we have 2 to go now at the line, watching the lap times, and I think, Todd Merkel just got around Ryan Kelly. So I'm good on math. We made it happen. So Todd Merkel back up into that top 5. Ryan Kelly will be pretty comfortable in 6th position. He's got a big gap until that 7th place of Mark Brown.
Yeah, and it looks like right now, like you were saying, your math definitely worked out for him there. And Maxwell Caldwell, he's doing the math right now, and his math tells him he's got 1 lap to go. Yep,
and that's the flag he wanted to see more than anything, because that tells you, should anything happen, we will go to the end. Because if there's a caution, now we can say the word, it's okay. If there's a caution before,
I didn't want to say the word all night tonight.
Nope, you were right.
And you know what? Hey, hats off to these drivers here at Area 51. 100 laps, caution free here at Michigan. Great race by all these drivers tonight.
Yeah, so I'll say we're waiting for them to come across 3 and 4, but it looks like as they just another set of turns to go, Maxwell Caldwell is going to win in dominating fashion tonight here at Michigan. As I remember, he talked about wanting to be able to actually get a celebration for a win. He's going to do it tonight at Michigan, winning from the pole, leading the most laps. In 2nd place, the 23 of Brendan Passalacqua, and in 3rd, I think the 88 of Michael Spell was able to hold off the 48 of James Ledford. So those are going to be our top 4.
The Area 51 drivers, like I said, 100 laps here, caution free at Michigan, and Maxwell Caldwell is going to be your winner, getting the pole here, and he's going to get the checkered flag.
Yeah, it's an amazing run. I said, like you said, I mean, you obviously never want to jinx a guy. Don't want to risk kind of doing that commentator's curse. But you could see from the get-go he was able to control the race. Had a few charges from a various couple drivers, the 23 and the 81 especially, but he was able to hold them off and make it happen here. So we'll ride on board with this number 94 as he does his burnouts here. We'll see if he goes through the grass or if he's going to stick with the asphalt route. I think he's going to be doing some asphalt donuts, it's looking like.
Yeah, he wants to light those things up, get that smoke going for that crowd there. He's going to park his number 94 machine right there on the start-finish line. Looks like he's trying to catch a gear to do some donuts.
So hopefully he didn't break the transmission. We've seen that happen before. There he goes.
There he goes. Our winner, Maxwell Caldwell, great race here at Michigan. Lighting him up there on the start-finish line. Going to get these guys here into victory lane, or in their. He's going to get the victory lane here shortly, but we are going to interview our top 3 here. Maxwell Caldwell being our winner. Brandon, oh man, say that gentleman's last name because I've been hearing you say it correctly all night.
Brandon Pasalacqua in that second position.
Second position to Michael Spell, and at third place position, bringing that 88 car home from 10th place starting position to third.
Yeah, so we're going to grab some of these drivers. We're going to start with our third place finisher here, Michael Spell, in that number 88. So we're going to jump back over from those burnouts to our 88 machine so we can take a look at that car. So we're going to pull up a minute and say Don's going to have a word with Michael Spell there, our third place finisher.
Yeah, we got a third place finisher here in the interview room with us. Started 10th. Great run tonight, man. Starting in just there on the outside, or not on the outside, but in top 10, and to be able to bring it all the way up to third. Did you think you would have anything for Maxwell tonight? Having no cautions, going green flag pit stops. Everything had to be perfect. Did you think you were going to be able to have anything for those two guys up there?
Man, I would love to say that, yeah, I could beat Maxwell, but honestly, if I could have just caught up to him, I would have felt like it was an accomplishment. I mean, he's just fast. I mean, after that first pit stop, he got, I don't know, 4.5 seconds out ahead of the other pack of us. And I mean, we were a pack of 4 or 5 and we couldn't run him down. I mean, he's running by himself. So he's just, hats off to him, man. He's just bad fast, but yeah, it was a great run.
How did your tires look after those pit stops there? Were you beating them up, or were you able to save a little bit of rubber for your runs there?
I'll accept that last run. I tried to manage them a little bit. My left fronts after not the last run, but the one before that were at, I think, 88. So they weren't too bad. And then that last run, I burned them off of it.
Well, I mean, yeah, you got to try to catch those guys. I hear you. But man, the great run for you tonight, Michael. Is there anybody that might have been watching, or anybody you want to give a shout out tonight for this third place finish that you got?
Yeah, big shout out my dad. My dad's watching tonight, so shout out to him. And then, to all the other admins of Area 51 and Charles especially. I mean, Charles spends countless hours every week on this stuff, and all the other admins and myself. I mean, we spend a lot of time to put this on, and I think we've got, probably the best league in iRacing at this point. I mean, it's great competition. So just those guys. And then to you guys putting on the broadcast, man, y'all do an awesome job.
Man, you guys put on a great race tonight, man. Area 51, 100 laps, caution-free at Michigan tonight. You guys all did a fantastic job. That's Michael Spell, our third place finisher. Great run for him tonight. Congratulations, Michael.
All right, so that was our third place finisher, Michael Spell. So now we're going to try to hunt down our second place finisher, that number 23 of Brandon Pasalacqua. Like I said, he was able to use those fresher tires to chase down the third and fourth place of James Ledford, Michael Spell, get around them, and they just didn't have quite enough though. As I think Don's been able to catch up with that 23 of Brandon Pasalacqua as well.
Yes, sir. I'm here with our second place finisher. Started tonight second and 1 spot out of that lead, and just 1 spot shy of getting the victory tonight. Maxwell was just so wicked fast. Did you think you would be able to have anything for him tonight? I mean, you guys, 100 laps caution free. like I was saying to Michael, you guys had to do everything perfect tonight on your pit stop since there was no yellows.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't have anything for Maxwell towards the second half of the race. He killed me on pit road on that first pit. He got out to a 3-second lead just off that. So I guess that's an area of opportunity for me. So looking at distance and the relative, I was able to keep up speed with Maxwell throughout the entirety of the run, but that 3-second gap that he had on me just stayed constant right there. But we had a heck of a 5-car pack with Todd, James, and Michael for like all the 100 laps, and that was extremely fun to race with those guys, and it was truly an honor to be a part of it tonight.
Yeah, we were watching you guys try to, battle each other there for a little bit, and it looked like you guys like lined up and were like, hey man, maybe we can try to get this leader, but Maxwell was just gone. But like you said, those pit stops were the most important thing tonight. You could not do anything wrong. You had to be perfect, and that's where Maxwell got you. You had a fantastic race. You definitely ran a great race tonight, man. How bad were the tires? Did the tires really affect the way you were running tonight?
I for the first time I can say in the history of my time when iRacing, I loved how the tires wore out today at Michigan. I thought the car was easy to drive with worn tires, and I did a good job of keeping them or not wearing them down too much. So as the run got longer, I felt more confident in the car and my ability to perhaps stay in front of other cars or perhaps make a move on them. So I actually liked the tire degradation that occurred tonight. So a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, you guys put on a great race tonight. Area 51 drivers, like I was saying, 100 laps, caution-free. You guys, wonderful race, man. You got anybody out there that might have been watching the broadcast tonight, or anybody you want to give a shout-out to for the second-place finish tonight?
Yeah, definitely. This is my first time being in the broadcast booth for Green White Checkered in Area 51. I just want to say it's truly an honor to be a part of it. Thank you to you guys for always putting on a great broadcast. I appreciate it. I know it's a lot of work. And then also to the admins of Area 51. Very fortunate that they allowed myself and my Dark Horse Racing team of Nick Winuk, Charles T, Gary Corley, and Josh Gardner to participate and be part of such this great league. So thank you to everyone. Appreciate it. I'm having a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, you guys look like you're having a blast out there tonight. Congratulations on your second place finish there, Brandon. Heck of a run tonight. Look forward to maybe talking to you in Victory Lane here soon, hopefully.
Hey, that sounds good to me. I appreciate it.
Take care, man. You have a great evening. Brandon right there in our number 20. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name because I'm going to slaughter it. I'm going to slaughter it. I've been listening to the guy. I'll say it perfect all night tonight. I don't want to mess it up. So
hey, you're good. I appreciate
it. You have a good night.
You too.
All right, that's our second place finish. That number 23 of Brendan Pesalacqua. Like I say, it's one of those ones that you try to read it fast and you just can't do it. It's like I've been able to do it a handful of times.
In my head 1,000 times tonight, and I know I'm still gonna mess it up. So he's had a great night. He doesn't need to hear me slaughter his last name.
Nah, no worries there. I say I'm sure we've all been there, so I wouldn't sweat it there. So now though, we got to pull up our race winner, that number 94 of Maxwell Caldwell. We got to see the onboard footage of that burnout, so now we're gonna pull up the outside footage while we have a chat with our race winner. So you had that kind of the win that wasn't the way you wanted to. I don't think there's a better way you can get a win. I think this is pretty much how you want to get a win here in dominating fashion like you did tonight here at Michigan.
Oh, absolutely, man. I'm not going to lie. I think I had Michigan circled here when I saw the last 4 or 5 races that were left. I saw Michigan. I said, man, I love Michigan. Not just a draft track, but I feel like I can save tire there. I feel like I can run the line I need to. I feel like I can race my way up through the field. And man, tonight couldn't have went a whole lot better, I don't think. So
I don't know. You let a couple other drivers lead a few laps, so I feel like you could have done a little bit more.
Man, it's just I didn't get strategy the way I had to, man. I mean, at first, right there at the end, I thought Ryan Kelly was going to push me to have to pit early, but when he pitted with 30 to go, I thought that was a little too soon, so I just kind of split the run in half there at the end. But first pit stop, I'd say, is pretty well what set my race on par there, kind of be able to break away a little bit after that first pit stop.
Yeah, that was Don were chatting with some of those drivers like Brandon and Michael, and they were saying the same thing. Like after that first pit stop, you were able to sneak out to, I think it's about a 3-second lead, and then from there, I mean, they just couldn't do anything with you. They had I think it was a 4-car group, and just you had the pace so well. And there's that one point that I thought Todd Merkel might be able to close the gap, but I think once you saw that gap get a little tighter than you probably wanted to, it kind of looked like you literally just like grabbed another gear and it's like okay, let me stretch this gap out here, and able to make that happen and build that gap right back up to that 3-second mark.
be honest with you, I kind of just kept running the way I was running. I mean, I knew he was on a little bit fresher tires, 1 or 2 lap fresher tires. I mean, you can pick up a half tenth to a tenth a lap on everybody. And he had some draft and stuff too at one time. And I think he pulled away from that pack on that run, but I knew he was mowing me down. And I thought my thought process is at a 2.5, 3 second gap, if he does catch me, he's probably not going to be able to get around me. He's not going to have a whole lot left if he's stuck on the bottom. I can just roll the top with what tire I have and just at least keep him behind me. So that's kind of what I even did the very first run of the race, is just made sure I didn't give the top away. And if I did, I just kind of crossed over and kind of forced him up into that third lane up top, which is kind of all dirty with the marbles and stuff. So I just tried to keep my car in the right lane where it needed to be most of the race, and it kind of paid off. I don't think I was saving a ton of tire, but it ended up, me and Ryan had practiced earlier before the race started, and he could save 10% more tire on the right front, yet I could still pull away a 3 or 4 second gap on him. So he wasn't ever able to make that up. So I knew saving tire wasn't going to be just the key strategy, but you also don't want to melt the right front off either, coming out of 2 especially. So just kind of a fine balance I was trying to run, and just maximizing pit stops with it staying green. That was my main thing, is try to maximize pit road. And normally that's where my weak suit's at. But I'll be honest, I think I did a fairly decent job tonight on pit road, especially on entry. So I was pretty proud of that.
Yeah, it definitely looked like, I mean, like we talked about that gap that you're able to build, and that's one of the critical things when you get to these points where you have these green flag pit stops. And of course, you guys had 3 of them tonight. Is that in lap and the out lap? And I mean, we've seen some of the big names in NASCAR. I mean, that's kind of what they kind of set their name on that kind of stuff. So it definitely was the right call for you on doing that. But yeah, I mean, it was, like I said, yeah, you did an awesome job tonight to get there. Was there anything that really stopped me? And I say you did mention the passing and everything. You did a really nice, as Don and I were watching that over under move where Brandon got underneath you. Looked like he kind of sent it there. I think it was into turn 3, and then you pretty much just crossed right back under him and went right on back by.
Yeah, I mean, that early in the race when I saw him underneath me, I thought, you know what, I'm not going to fight too hard, because 9 out of 10 says if I back this corner up, he's going to slide up with that much momentum, and I can just kind of get back to that middle lane as he slid up a little bit high. And once I did, I mean, I had to run off the corner. And I mean, the way Michigan is, in my personal opinion, I go for more of the run off the corner, because you got such long straightaways on both sides of the track that you carry all that speed, because you can really kill yourself going too hard into the corner. But the run out is where I tried to focus all night. It seems like it paid off. So.
No, I think that was definitely the right call there. Don, I know we got a chance to talk to him before at North Wilkesboro. So, like I said, not really the way we wanted it to. I don't know if you had any questions on your end that you wanted to be able to throw his way.
Well, I was just impressed on those pit stops, man. Your pit stops were flawless tonight. And like we were talking to our second and third place finishers tonight, is that to me seemed like the key to your victory tonight, because of course you were fast on the track, but with this being, such long green flag run, no cautions at all, and having a pit under green, I mean, it was so important to nail those pit stops. You had to be perfect every single time. And like Brandon was saying, that first pit stop that you did, you were flawless, and he couldn't touch you after that. So that seemed like the real key here tonight, was your pit stops. I mean, it's not really a question, but that's just, you were perfect with those.
Yeah, I mean, that first pit stop's really what I think set the race up the way it was, and I think it kind of helped it go green. Once everybody made that first pit stop and everybody kind of spread out, you get spread out at Michigan. I mean, if you're wrecking by yourself here, you're kind of, I don't know, the setup to me was not very loose at all. So toward the end of a run, it was really starting to kill the right front out of 2, and you kill it once or twice out of 2, and you're just dragging that thing all the way out of the corner. So, I mean, it wasn't like a loose setup that you were going to wreck, and if you were by yourself, you could just kind of run your own pace, just kind of play the tire game, and that's kind of how the night turned out. If it wasn't for that first pit stop, I think it would have been interesting. I think I could have still held people off running that top line, but I knew with him on my bumper as he was, I said, when I come pit, I said, I've got to nail the entry and I've got to nail the exit. And if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember, I want to say I heard on the radio that he was going to pit that time. And so I thought, well, I'll just come right on with him and see if I can just beat him that way fair and square. And then once I got that 3.5 second gap out of pit road, they didn't have that draft to be able to suck up on me. And really, truthfully, my goal was they'd be racing each other back there. And kind of, even though they may all be quicker still, they'd be wearing some of their stuff out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Way they had nothing left.
Where you have clean track and you can run anything you want. Exactly. No, great win tonight, man. You had a fantastic strategy, and yeah, your pit stops were awesome. So,
Now,
well,
when
way to
caution
go,
comes
man.
out, that would have changed everything.
Oh
but,
yeah, definitely. I didn't even want to say that word tonight.
Yeah,
I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah.
I really am glad you didn't. There's been some races in this league where I was set up, good as gold. Well, let's think of Homestead earlier this season. Me, Larry, and Ron Kelly, all three had just a great strategy there. And then cautions just messed all the strategy up. Levi Cox comes in and pits right on the edge of the fuel window. And then me, Larry, and Ron are finishing 16th, 17th, 18th position, and you got Levi winning. So, I mean, cautions have kind of cost me and Ryan Kelly for sure some races this year. So,
well,
kind of
tonight
nice to see it go green.
tonight definitely wasn't an issue with caution. So, congratulations, man, and yeah, celebrate that win.
Absolutely. Does this count as the first win or the second? You know, because that one I had, I don't really know. Every time I look at the point standings, it has a big goose egg there. So at least that's gone away. But, man, just to have 2 wins this season is kind of awesome. I hate how the first one was with the guy jumping the start, but they made the right call there a few weeks ago. And then tonight we didn't have to worry about no call. We just went out there and just, I don't know, we just dominated, and it felt kind of good for once. I'm used to Larry Yingling doing that, so I'm kind of glad I was able to get out there and do it for once.
No, you definitely did an awesome job. Yeah, caution was definitely a 4-letter word. We saved it. So once we got that one to go, that's where we mentioned like, oh, okay, that's what we're kind of not mentioning. And yeah, so you did a great job. But yeah, definitely want to give you an opportunity. Any thanks, shouts you'd like to give for getting that win, and say any sponsors, anybody helping you to get to where you were tonight. So yeah, the floor is yours.
I'm glad you said sponsors because I felt so bad the past few weeks, finishing top 3, 5 weeks, probably 6 now in a row, counting tonight. And, man, I've yet to mention Roy Wheeler and that awesome paint job he put on my car. He originally sponsored me for the Super Speedway Series, and that kind of fell through. I couldn't end up running in it, but glad to be able to run it for him tonight out here and run it through these Thursday Night Cup Series races, being able to lead the points with it and now getting the second win of the season. Man, since we've thrown this paint job on the car, it seems like I've run a whole lot better. So as long as Roy wants to keep giving paint jobs my way, I'll happily run those. But, yeah, glad to do that for him and get his name out there with his branding out there. And just my teammates, Larry Yingling kind of helping us from behind the scenes a little bit now. And then, had Ryan Kelly, me and him are teammates out here battling for a championship, but at the same time still helping each other. We were working in practice, helping each other learn, trying to tell each other some strategies and things to do. Corey Cook, no, he didn't have a good night tonight, but, man, he was running with us too and thought he was going to have a strong night, but I think he got in a little mess that didn't bring a caution out, and it just kind of ruined his night. But just the teammates I run with week in, week out, man, they're awesome. They've helped me since the first season I ran in here, and I probably wouldn't be as good as I am today if it wasn't for them. So thankful for those guys and thankful for y'all for the broadcast. Man, I was telling you the other night after that Friday night race, man, y'all are doing such an awesome job and just stepping up your game each and every week. And, man, it's just awesome to be a part of it.
So we appreciate it, and I mean, it makes our job that much easier when you guys are able to put on these awesome shows. So I know we enjoy doing it week in and week out. So definitely want to congratulate you again and say enjoy it. So like I said, now you got to do the burnouts, you got the celebration. So now you just
let's do it next week.
Yeah, so now you got 3 more races. Try to get that car in victory lane again, and then try to go for that season 5 championship.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, that's our race winner, Maxwell Caldwell, in that number 90. Our final results here, Don, and see where everybody wound up. All right, race winner Maxwell Caldwell, you can see there. In second place, Brendan Pastelacqua, 1.8 seconds behind, and then you can see just able to keep those 2, Michael Spell, James Ledford at bay. Todd Merkel rounds out the top 5. Then we saw Ryan Kelly with that short pit strategy, brings him back up into that 6th position. And then you got Mark Brown, Corey Lane, Jim Brooks, and David Patton rounding out our top 10. 11th through 20th, you've got Charles Johnson, Nicholas Nook, Dwight Plesh, Art Peck, Quabi Brooks, Mike Morrison, Doug Johnson, Jack Walls, Dalton Hayes, and Corey Cook. A handful of those drivers were involved in that contact. And down the front stretch, they did not bring out a yellow, unfortunately for them, just because of the fact that the cars all kept pointing in the right direction or wound up down in the grass where, if it's down there, they won't throw the yellow usually for those incidents.
Yeah, if it's off the surface.
Oh, it'll help if I have the right thing clicked there. Sorry. So yeah, I mean, a really good run though here tonight, Don. But yeah, so before we go, any final thoughts on your end?
No, just a great race tonight. Congratulations to our winner, and man, just 100 laps caution free at Michigan. That was a great race they put on.
Yeah, I agree. So, like I said, just that one incident that didn't bring out the yellow, but again, that's just because that's how iRacing is sometimes. So, I'm sure those drivers aren't pleased with it, but at the same time, definitely kept the flow of the race going pretty well. I think definitely played a little bit of an outcome in it, as well as you saw the field kind of split up big time after that. But like we said, I don't think anybody had anything for that number 94 here of Maxwell Caldwell. So again, I want to congratulate him and the top three, Brendan and Michael, for their results this evening. So that being said, we will be back. I'll be back on Sunday evening for the Super Speedway Cup Series. So hopefully I'll have Roy Wheeler with that Roy Wheeler Designs. You can see that paint scheme in Victory Lane. He'll be joining me in the booth on Sunday. And then, of course, back on Tuesday for the IndyCar Series. So until then, happy Friday Eve. And please, if you can, please try to stay home, stay safe, wash your hands. And until Sunday, have a good night.